All right, so this video is on what are called the measures of central tendency. And the measures of central tendency are mean, median, mode, and range. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to calculate those: mean, median, mode, and range. So we'll start with the mean. Another name for the mean, by the way, is the average. So average and mean are the same thing, really. So to find the mean, all you do is add all of the elements or the numbers. So when you have a list of numbers, they're called elements. So this is called a data set. And in the data set, each number is an element. So add all of those elements or numbers in the data set and divide by the number of elements. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add these together. So we're just going to add 7 plus 2 plus 3 plus all of those. And so when we add those together, we get a sum equal to 87. All right, so when you add those, you get a sum of 87. And now we need to divide that by the number of elements. So there are 8 elements. So to find the mean, we're going to do 87 divided by the number of elements, which is 8, and that'll give us 10.875. Now, one thing I'll mention about the mean while we're here is if you have really large or really small values in your mean, so let's say we had this data set, and then we had one number that was 1,000. That number is called an outlier. It's a number that's much larger or much smaller than the rest of the numbers in the data set. When you calculate the mean, that will have a big impact on your answer. So if you can imagine this being 1,087 divided by 9, we'd have a much larger value. And so the mean is really not a good thing to use when you have outliers, when you have values that don't follow the rest of your data. All right, so let's go to the next one. The next one is median. So when I think about median, what I think about is the middle of a highway. So that grassy strip down the middle of the interstate is called the median, and the median is in the middle of the road. So what we're looking for is the number that's in the middle. Now, here's the piece that causes most students the most trouble, is you have to put the numbers in order from least to greatest before you find the number in the middle. So place the numbers in order from least to greatest and find the number in the middle. If you end up with 2 numbers in the middle, then we have to find the mean of those 2 numbers, which just means we're going to add those 2 numbers together and divide by 2. All right, so I'm going to show you an example of all of those. So first, let's put these numbers in order. And so the smallest number is 2, then we have 3, and then 7, and then 11, and then 14, and then 15, and there's another 15, and then feeling like I missed something. 15, and then 17, and then 20, and then 21. So one thing I want to point out to you, when I put these numbers in order, I wrote them directly below the other list of numbers, the other data set. And the reason I did that is to make sure that I didn't miss any numbers. So however many numbers there are in my data set, I want to make sure I have the same number after I rearrange them. So I just wrote them directly below it. So if I came up one short, I know I made a mistake, which is the most common mistake that I see. The other thing you can do is you can just cross them off as you use them. Make sure you cross off every single one. But again, that's a very common mistake that people arrange these in order and they're missing a number. All right, so now all we do is find the number that's in the middle. And the way that most people teach this, which is the way I teach this, is you just start crossing them off. So you just go from the outside, working your way to the inside. And so I cross off the 2 outside numbers, then I cross out the next 2 outside, and then the next 2 outside. And in this case, I end up with 2 numbers in the middle. So that's where this point comes from. It says if two numbers are in the middle, then find the mean of those two numbers. Which, in other words, what you're really doing is you're finding what's in between these two numbers. And so you're probably looking at that and saying, oh, well, it's 14.5. And that's correct. That is the median. But if it's not easy to see that, then what you do is you add those two numbers together, 14 plus 15, and divide by 2. Remember, to find the median, you add the numbers and divide by how many numbers there are. So if I'm just adding 14 and 15, I just divide by 2. So when I do that, I get 29 divided by 2, which is 14.5. So again, in this one, you could probably figure that out without doing this math. But sometimes it's not so easy. And so you can always just add the two numbers and divide by 2. And that'll give you the number that's in between them, or the median. All right, so let's look at another one here. So find the median of this data set. So we're going to put them in order. Again, I didn't say this before, but really that's the most common mistake I see, is that students forget to put the numbers in order and they just start crossing them off and find what's in the middle. But the numbers have to be in order. So 2, and then a 3, and then a 7. Again, it's so easy to miss a number here. So that's why I'm being kind of slow at this, because I prefer not to make a mistake while I'm making this video. So 17, 20, and 21. And so again, I line them up here. And now we'll just cross them off from the outsides, working our way in. So I'm going left, right, left, right, left, right. And in this case, I have just one number in the middle, and that's my median. So 15 is the median, the middle number of this data set. So sometimes you'll have a number left, and sometimes you'll have two numbers there. So just to let you know this, if you have an even number of elements in your data set, or an even number of numbers, you're going to end up with two numbers in the middle. If you have an odd number, then you're going to end up with just one number in the middle. All right, so that's median. So let's move on to mode. And mode is probably the easiest one. So mode is the element or elements, that means there could be more than one answer, that occur the most often. So when I see mode, I think most, mode, most. You can have no mode, or you can have more than one mode, or you can just have one mode. So let's look at this data set. What you're looking for are repeating numbers. You're looking for what number repeats the most. And if there's nothing that repeats, then there's no mode. Or let's say every number occurs twice, then there's no mode. So what you're looking for is numbers that occur more than the other numbers. So in this data set, when I look at this, I see that I have two 20s, no, sorry, two 15s. So there's a 15 here and a 15 here, and nothing else repeats. So there's more 15s than anything else. So the mode of this, the number that occurs the most, is 15. All right, let's look at this next data set. All right, so I've got two 3s here, two of those, and two 15s, and nothing else repeats. So 3 and 15 occur more than anything else. So my mode is 3 and 15. So there are two modes here. And you could have more than two. So let's say 11 repeated. Then your mode would be 3, 11, and 15. So you can have no mode or more than one mode. Or you can just have one, which is what this last example is going to be. So find the mode of this data set. Let's see, something is repeating in here. I'm trying, there's nothing repeating. Sorry, this one had one mode. This has two modes. This one, there's nothing that repeats. So the answer to this is that there is no mode. So again, you can have one, more than one, or no mode. So 3 different things that could happen. And again, the one that most students have the most trouble with, write this down real quick. Let's say I have a data set that was 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Right? No numbers here occur more than any other number. So there's 2 2s, 2 3s, and 2 4s. So this one would also be no mode. Now, let's say I added a 1 here. So if I added a 1 here, then my mode would be 2, 3, and 4, because 2, 3, and 4 occur more than the 1. All right, and now the last one is range. So the range is how spread out your data is. It's the difference between your largest value and your smallest value. So all you do is take the largest value minus the smallest value. So in this case, the largest value is 21 and the smallest value is 2. So 21 minus 2 is 19. And that's it. So that's mean, median, mode, and range. I hope this was helpful. If so, give it a like and a subscribe. And until next time.